Okay, welcome back. Right, let's do a tutorial on wrapping reverbs. Basically what that means is we take an audio file, apply reverb to it, cocoon it in another reverb, and then cocoon that in another reverb. Sounds complex, but actually it's very simple. So let me disengage all the others. Just play it as it is, dry.
Torn, tempted by the prize, still up near dawn, young but
Now let's apply the first reverb, and this time, instead of using it as a send, I'm using it as an insert. And I'm using the CSR Classic Studio reverb from IK Multimedia, and it's absolutely wonderful. Love this thing. Plates are always great for vocals, drums, but always play around, get the right vibe going. Next up, we need to do some dampening, get the mix right as it's on an insert. We can't have it fully wet, and this is how it sounds.
but behind your eyes, so old and worn, yeah.
Here I've left this sort of floaty reverb just behind the vocals a little. I've not worked too much with things like the pre-delay because right now I want it to go in wet, then I want to shape it with the other two verbs. Right, let's go into the second reverb, which is Antoni's wonderful PSP 2445, which if you watched any of my other videos, you'll know I absolutely love this one. And this one I've added some pre-delay.
Tempted by the prize.
This gives us that nice sort of, not so much a wet texture, but that wispy texture that we often look for in vocals. But knowing that if we push up the mix amount, we end up with too much of a wet signal. And if we try and open up all the filters, we still end up with too bright a signal. So this kind of takes care of things really nicely. You can see what I've done here in terms of the roll-off. A lot of high frequency roll-off here. And if you have a look here, a lot on the low end as well. So this is what we end up with now.
Still up near dawn, young but
If you listen to the end of the words, you can hear how that reverb just hangs in there a little bit longer than necessary, but I'm going to tame that with the next reverb.
behind your eyes, so
The important thing here is to apply a little bit of pre-delay. Otherwise, we end up with wet on wet. If you have slightly wet with a little bit of dissipation and filtering going into something that's completely dry and having a pre-delay set higher so that it then just kicks in, you get a far smoother response. Otherwise, you'd get this very sort of vocal thickening effect.
so old and worn.
We've now got a combination of presence and clarity because of the way the filters are working here on both reverbs. Now let's smooth that out, warm it up, and give it that really nice sort of hanging feel that you get on reverbs when the words end. And for that, I'm going to send it by this amount to, again, IK Multimedia's Classic Hall. Now, this thing is absolutely lovely. I can't recommend these products enough by IK Multimedia. I think they've really won with the max range of products, and these plugins are pretty much my go-to plugins now. If you read my latest book, Mix Bus Strategies, I think in the last 3 or 4 chapters, pretty much all I'm using are the IK Multimedia stuff. Really, really good stuff. Right, this is how it sounds now going through the third reverb, but look at what I've done here in terms of not just dampening, but the pre-delay. I've thrown in a 29 milliseconds here because I know I'm going through in wet on the first reverb, then I'm going into the second reverb with a slight pre-delay, and the third one with an even bigger pre-delay. And this is how it sounds now.
Torn, tempted by the prize, still up near dawn, young but behind your eyes.
So what we've done is we've maintained the presence of the vocal, so there doesn't seem to be any smearing of any sort. You're not losing any other power from the low end, mid-range, or the high end. But you've got this beautiful sort of backdrop of reverb that just sort of floats around, and then it starts with the next word. So I've made sure not to let it sort of loop on itself too much, otherwise you get what we call reverb build. Get your damping right, get your reverb times right, and this is working on a send. So if I play it, Even if I extend the send to a high amount, you still don't get that drenched wet reverb effect.
Torn, tempted by the prize, still up near dawn, young but behind your eyes. So,
and this is called wrapping reverbs. We wrap one reverb into another, into a third. I've quite often done this with delays, whereby I send a delay to a reverb and then feed the reverb back into itself, so I get that sort of denser reverb vibe. It's a really, really great way to treat things. Just be very wary of your pre-delays. Your reverb decay times are most important filtering. You can get away even if you have sort of slightly errant pre-delay times, but the filtering will take care of all your smoothness.